From accessible campaigning to the poverty rules that inhibit participation in such things as the 529 plans and ABLE accounts. Here is what Micholas Credle, candidate for general treasurer, has to say. I'm Annette Bourbonnier, and this is the CriptheVote subseries. I am a 70-ish-year-old woman with dark-rimmed eyeglasses, and I'm wearing a black shirt and sitting in a power wheelchair. Please take the time to free subscribe if you've not already done so. Give me a like, make some comments. I do read all the comments. And all the podcasts are available with captions in English and Spanish and other languages that are available in the settings of your computer. Okay, I'm honored to have as my guest this afternoon, Micholas Credle, a candidate for general treasurer in Rhode Island.
Thank you so much for having me.
Micholas.
Yes, so nice.
Okay, so 26% of the voters, or 26% of the population in this country, 26% of adults, which are your voting bloc, your voting population, have disabilities.
Yes.
And yet, never has disability come up in regular campaigns.
Okay.
Not at all. Even though we are the largest minority in the country, and we cross every other minority. So, we're doing this. This is the purpose behind CriptheVote.
Okay.
Is to say, this is who we are, and these are the things that you need to address that address our needs too, and that by addressing our needs, you're also helping the rest of the state.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a good thing for everyone, as far as we're concerned. So one thing that we always ask about, and I'm diligent about this year, is accessible campaigning.
Okay.
Can you pledge to accessibly campaign only in venues that are accessible, that meet accessibility requirements? And would you be willing to download and sign the pledge to do so?
So let's talk about accessibility.
Right.
Things that I am campaigning for, because as you campaigning is an everyday thing.
Right.
Micholas, can you please come over to the Everett King House?
Yeah.
If there's not accessibility here, I will campaign here, but because I don't run that may be a difficult issue.
Okay. So that becomes a problem for us.
Okay.
Because what you're saying then, the venue is more important than 26% of your voters.
Yes.
And it also says, well, the law says I have to do this accessibly, but it's inconvenient. And so it says that you're picking and choosing which laws you're going to uphold. And for us, that's a big problem because we are constantly the ones left behind. And it's not really fair. So you would have to say, well, I want to talk to this group. Is there another place we can do it that's more accessible?
Yeah.
Then it is, I did actually do a recent podcast on not specifically campaigning, but who's responsible for accessibility? Is it the building owner, the tenant, or the venue owner, or the person running the event? And then actually it's all three.
Okay.
The landlord has to have, is supposed to make the building accessible. If there's a tenant that owns a business, they have to be accessible to their customers.
Correct.
So they have to work something out with the landlord to be accessible, because they are required, and they're, when they're not accessible, they have failed, and they're discriminating against their customers and clients.
They are, yes, ma'am.
And if you're holding an event, you can't say, well, it's not, I'm renting it from this business and there's the landlord. You can't pass the buck all the way that way, because you still have to say, then there is another place we can do this. I'm sorry that you'd like to have the event here, but I need to have an accessible location. And then you go out and find an accessible location. And that's really important.
That's what we're asking for here in Crip.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, right, because like I said, 26% of your voters have disabilities. So if you're saying being accessible to us is not important, now you only have 74% of the potential voters, you have to get all your votes from only 74%. Because we're not going to vote for somebody that campaigns in inaccessible locations.
I understand that. Okay.
So that's where it comes down to.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, sometimes you have to make choices. So
And
this is why we ask that.
And but I can actually look at and understand that, and I can pledge to that.
Right.
As you look at venues that you're responsible for, just
Right.
making accessibility,
Right.
Feasibility, I guess is the right best word. So I do that, but I can, yes.
Make sure that your potential constituents, your potential voters, have access. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I can send you a copy of it when I post this, or
Yes.
okay. All right. So that's an important thing.
Yes, ma'am, that's the question. Because if they're not in the room, then they don't have a voice.
Beg your
If
pardon?
they're not in the room, then they don't have a voice.
That's
So I
right.
can support that. Yeah.
And they don't hear your voice either. So
They don't,
which is
'cause
another thing.
The reach.
There is no reach, right? Yeah, and it is a strong message that we don't count.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's, this CriptheVote is to say, hey, we do count. We're a whole lot of your voters here,
Yes,
or
ma'am.
potential voters, so that's important. So, okay. So the other two questions I have, as I showed you, they have to do with specifically the role of general treasurer.
Okay.
That's the office you're running for.
Yes, ma'am.
So the mission of the office is to promote economic growth and financial security for all Rhode Islanders.
Yes.
Yeah, boy, I'd love to see that someday.
Well,
So-
it's once again another uphill battle, but those are
Right.
things that you take strides, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
But people with disabilities have been required through various policies, regulations, laws. We're required to live in poverty. And that is a really bad rule. It's a very bad rule. But they're significant and they're challenges. Our income is restricted because if we earn over a certain limit,
1,600,
then we
yeah.
lose our Medicaid, and then we become homeless.
Because that's the right to work piece.
And there is no real benefit to anyone for this. I know that, I've heard, people that I normally, respect and admire have said, well, we have to worry about double dipping and we have to worry about fraud. You know what? There are people in government, there are people in big business that are committing fraud that we could never aspire to commit. Never mind, we're just trying to stay alive.
To live. You're trying to survive.
And it is an extraordinary stressor on us that we cannot save money, we cannot earn money. If we earn over that certain limit, boom, you're out.
Yes.
And it's a big problem. So, the 529 fund, which should be everybody's right until we get free education, and then we don't have to worry about it.
That'd be great.
We can work on that later. But the ABLE accounts, a lot of us do not have access to either of them because we cannot earn enough money to live on, never mind to save.
Yes. And then if you also look at the age, of the people that are disabled, although it ranges.
It ranges.
It ranges, but if you look at your elderly, you're saving for what? To live, because right now you need that money to live today. And you're capped at $1,600. SSDI, you're capped at $1,600, $1,650, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And right now, the average going for a two bedroom, two bath apartment is $2,100.
Right.
So I totally understand the issue that you have, and then you have programs such as the Rhode Island 529, Rhode Island ABLE that are designed to help. But how can you save when you have to live somewhere?
Exactly.
And then you have to buy groceries, and you have to pay your energy bill.
Right.
So that right there may be the problem.
Right.
So,
yeah. So, think we can count on you to help champion some changes in that?
So
the legislature and wherever it becomes possible, promote change in there.
So although the Rhode Island we don't do legislation.
No.
I can support legislation and champion things of that nature. For not only just adjusting that Rhode Island ABLE program, because it doesn't really make sense, nor does the 529 for college.
Right.
So those are things that I can look and use my skill set to advance Rhode Island. Greater than where we are right now. Right now we're just trying to provide an option, but we need to provide the best option. I think is what we need to do. So I can support that, and I can champion that.
Right, yeah. No, I know you can't introduce legislation. That's honest to do.
Yes. The General Assembly, that's the one I want to support all day.
Yeah, so. Right, yes. And, you know, that's, they know my name.
Okay.
My shyness.
Yeah, but I mean, but your voice has to be heard.
Right.
It has to, because like, if you don't, then you'll always live how they tell you how to live.
Right, exactly. Right. And the reason I do this work is because a lot of people cannot. Yeah. It takes an enormous amount of emotional effort to be doing this, and so you know the toll is too much for a lot of people. Yes. So I've learned how to manage it. So okay. Yeah. And
I thank you for that.
Well, yeah. I think it's my duty to do it. So I'm really committed to it.
That's awesome.
So, okay. So now the other part of our poverty is because, oh, by the way, it is beneficial to the state of Rhode Island to allow us to earn any living that we're able to do. Okay. The reason is, okay, you're going to pay for Medicaid if we're not working, because that's an obligation.
Part A and Part B, right?
So you get nothing back for that if we're not working. If we're working,
you pay taxes.
We're paying taxes, we're buying goods and services, which enables the employment of other people who then pay taxes. It is an economic driver as opposed to otherwise. So, you know, it really makes a lot of sense to not cut us off and say, well, no, you're disabled, so you're not allowed, because we will not let you have health care if you don't. I mean, I could tell you stories. I mean, this gentleman who he had, I'm not sure exactly what kind of brain surgery he had for some type of tumor, but it was in an area that it knocked out the hormones that allowed his muscles to work.
Muscle atrophy. So
the hormones needed to function. I mean, because everything is, you know, related in
connected.
That would allow the startup of the muscles. So he was confined to bed. Okay. And, so he was bedridden. Okay. Yeah, he was a talented bicycle mechanic. Okay. But when he ran out of money, then they put him on Medicaid. And he got his medication. Yeah, now he can work. And you're working, you got money.
It comes back.
Now, how much sense does that make to anyone?
It's almost like enabling you to limit you, or limiting you to able you.
It's like it's bass backwards, you know.
Need to find a better plan.
We do need to find a better plan, you know, and that's one of hundreds of stories I could tell you. Okay. You know, and it happens to me too. And that's a personal story I'd tell you off camera. But you know, not being allowed to earn money is really detrimental. And I am a pretty bright person. There's a lot of things I could do, and I have to always be careful. And you know, it's like there's this X. If you cross that line,
it is a left and right
line is not always clear either. So the line is a little fuzzy, and where is it? Because if you buy certain things, you can extend it. However, you have to put the outlay on that before you even get the benefit back from another year. And so that fuzzy line is always and it's a stress.
You have to tread lightly, because you don't want to lose your benefits, because then it affects your way of life.
Right, exactly. So, you know, some people think the disability is the hardest part. It's not.
It's the management of disability.
It's dealing with how society treats you with your disability. That's the biggest problem, right? So, and then, like I say, then they extend this life of poverty to our caregivers. We have personal care assistants. You know, I mean, the agencies have the same problems, but many of us prefer to hire our own because, personal care assistants. They take care of help with activities of daily living. They're not actually healthcare providers at all, but by being able to hire our own, we can schedule them. I mean, an agency might say, okay, well, somebody will be there at 11 o'clock, and well, that takes care of any possibility of my doing anything today, at that point.
Because they're here. They're here to take care of you.
Right, exactly. So, this is why. So we have had what they call the personal choice program, or I think they're calling it something else now.
Personal choice program. Okay.
But where we hire and train and schedule our own.
Is that a Rhode Island program?
No, it is actually based on a federal, Medicaid waiver.
Okay.
Okay, so, and it's a way of having home and community-based services, which is way better than going into a nursing home for everybody.
Because they take everything. Because a nursing home,
yeah,
my grandmother is currently just got put into a nursing home about a month ago.
Yeah. But you don't get the care there. I mean, if you're young enough to be wanting to be active and live a life, nursing home, you're lucky if they're able to. Their job is more healthcare, and you're lucky if they take care of the problem they admit you for. Never mind everything else. They're shorthanded too, and far more expensive.
Yeah.
But
$5,800. I was like, I understand now.
Yeah. Right. However, they don't give us enough pay for the PCAs. For, let's see, the program.
PCA stands for
Personal
Care Assistant. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. It's Personal Care Assistant.
Okay.
And so, the program started, I think, around 2003 or 2004 here in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And they were paid what then was fairly decent, $15 an hour.
Okay. And now.
And they finally, by COVID, we had none left. Because they never got a raise. They didn't get a raise for years and years and years. And COVID, they said, we're gonna, that's enough of that.
Our raises are kind of funny in Rhode Island. It's kind of like the same thing with our pension and our COLAs. They haven't got a raise either. Like we just need a better plan.
We do need a better plan. So, we did finally get a raise and started some training programs. But they haven't gotten another raise now for, let's see, it's 3 years.
Okay.
So now they have instituted another raise. But if you use the calculator on, I'm forgetting which economic website, I think it might be the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it might be BLS, where you can say, okay, in 2004, you got $15, and what do you need to replace that $15 worth of goods now?
Today, inflation.
Right.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, it was $23.40. They gave a raise up to $21.
So we're still behind.
Oh yeah. So now there's another raise for about I think $1.80 or something like that. So there's way behind, and then they don't get the annual increases that everybody else gets.
Right.
They have no benefits. They have no health benefits.
Right.
They should at the very least be eligible for Medicaid themselves.
Because of the time. Because it kind of limits them to working somewhere else.
Right.
If you're here for 4 to 6 hours of a day somewhere, where can you work, especially during the daytime, unless you're doing second and third shift.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yes.
So in fairness to them, why are we compounding poverty? And again, it doesn't make economic sense for the state.
No.
We should actually, plus there are all these people whose jobs are to make sure that we don't break any of these rules. So, and again, that's a waste. Yeah. Get rid of those jobs, let us live, and we're probably all better off. But
so I think that's kind of, I'm not sure if you've heard the new Speaker of the House, his proposal for this new Inspector General that we're trying to do, basically trying to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse.
Right.
So that's kind of the next thing that John Laughlin has been pushing heavy, just trying to get us a new Inspector General so we can get rid of things that we're not, being very productive with, getting to that better plan that you're looking for.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So when we're out there fighting for some of these things, if you champion us, support us in these efforts, in legislative changes, because we do need to change it. There's just no no value to keeping this the same, no value to anybody except, executives who are making the money on it.
Who I mean, it's the healthcare industry.
Yeah,
so,
the healthcare industry, forget that. I mean, that's a whole nother.
But I mean, that's who's winning, right?
Right,
and,
but
it's like,
that is,
how do Rhode Islanders win is the question.
Right, well,
but
healthcare industry.
I can support that. Yes.
Right, okay, that's good, yeah. You might want to check out some episodes that I've done about healthcare. Most recently, I think it's the third one, and How Do We Fix Our Government?
How do we fix our government?
Right, and I have done 3 of them.
Okay.
I have a list that's going to go on, but the first one is integrity. We've just got to stop all the lack of integrity. There's just, we've got to stop hiring crooks, and this is just, we've got to get big money out of our government.
Taking big money out of government.
So there's that. That was the first one. Second one is tax equity.
Tax equity.
And I believe that at this point in time, we need a one-time 50% tax, 50% wealth tax.
50% wealth tax.
Wealth tax on billionaires.
Okay.
Okay. Now this should be set up so it's triggered anytime certain things happen in the economy. It should not be an ongoing thing, but we do need it right now to dig out of a lot of a mess that we've got.
Okay. And how does that 50% tax work? What does that look like compared to the new billionaires tax that we have?
It would be about $4.5 trillion that would come into, if it were. It's not.
That's almost 25% of our budget. Yeah.
It's not what's. It shouldn't be just designated to give out checks because the checks don't. There's a better way to do it, but it would come to approximately a little over $12,000 per every man, woman, and child in this country.
1.1 million.
So that's it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that can be used to do things like free universal health care.
Education.
But that's tax equity. The other thing is, why should Jeff Bezos be paying a 1% income tax where someone on SSI pays 52%?
Yeah.
There's something really, really wrong with that. But it is an effective 50% tax that people on SSI who try to work.
The SSI or SSDI.
Well, SSI is the income. It is the need-based. They're both the same program, but one is means tested and the other one is based just on your earnings. Okay. And SSI is the one that's means tested, and I think that the federal one now is somewhere around $800. Rhode Island does add a little bit to it. Some states do. Things. Okay. But
that's the poverty piece you're saying.
But it's not. It's not $100. It's not $1,000 to it. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
But if you're living on $800 a month, and you try to go out and earn $100, and you lose $50 of your benefits for doing it, there is something really wrong with that picture. And not when somebody who has billions and billions of dollars pays 1%.
It's almost like paying your fair share is what they're
exactly. Now at one time this country, I'm going to say I think it ended somewhere in the 1950s, or it started to change. But people with very high incomes paid a 90% marginal rate on their income tax. Yeah.
In the 50s.
Yeah, and we're not even asking for that, but we are saying, let's be fair about it.
And that's what the request is.
So that was my second one in the series. And the third one was on healthcare.
Okay.
And I listen to it and tell me what you think of it after. I really would appreciate it.
I love it.
I've worked in healthcare, and I know a lot about healthcare, and I also know how bad it has become. And I mean, we have very dedicated physicians and providers who are now called resourit's they're not even called physicians or providers when the billing comes out as resources. Okay. And we're customers, and it's transactions. It's not
transactional, not transformational.
So, I did put out a plan on it. it needs more work,
revision,
but enough to say this can be done, and we need to really
a starting point. At least.
Yeah, I think it's really important to do something. So I'm not necessarily the smartest person, but I have studied a lot, and I have some good information. So I think that this is worth looking at and saying, okay, well, maybe we should do this to check. I'm open to all of that, but we need to start somewhere. And with all that's going on right now, I think we need to be brave enough, bold enough to say, okay, we need to fix this so this does not ever happen again. And we need to take bold steps so that this country can, get back to some values.
Yeah, well, and we like to run on common sense, but at this point, as we are Americans, how we live, getting back to those Maslow's hierarchy of needs, just those basic needs. It's not even, living in any type of luxury life. No. It's just taking care of our basic needs.
Right, but a lot of us are not able to even do that.
Not at this point.
Your housing costs should be no more than a third of your income.
Rhode Island is extremely high. It's hard to live here, and that's why people are finding themselves either living with someone or having to actually leave the state.
Right. Yeah. I did take part in a seminar, or kind of all-day workshop on homelessness in Newport County. Okay. And in one of the breakout groups, there was somebody who owned several businesses apparently, and I don't even know the guy's name, but and there was a woman who was saying how she was really struggling because her housing costs were 55% of her income.
And it should be 1/3.
Yeah. And so he proposed, well, what if you had a job where you collected 50% of your salary and you had free housing? And I'm there like, that still makes her housing cost, but it's better than what she has. That's not where we're supposed to be aiming for. Yeah. That is not the American dream. The American dream is, you can work and you can earn money and build a life. Yes. And that's really what people want. Nobody's expecting to go out and buy a mansion down the street. But we should be able to live, a decent life, make sure our kids are educated, have what they need. We should be able to, afford education or participate in education because that's already,
that is our right.
As a right, but it's our right. And we should be able to take a vacation with our family for a couple of weeks. We used to do that. In the 50s and 60s, that was common. And it doesn't exist anymore.
I don't have PTO. That's what it's come to now.
Right.
The getting away from the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is kind of what we need to get back to.
Right.
And I think right now it's just hard for Rhode Islanders to even think about a vacation.
Right.
Because
it's not even.
How much money do I have saved away so I can go somewhere with the family of 4? Right. So that's a little difficult.
Right.
I understand that piece.
So we need to get back to some of that. There's no reason we cannot. The only reason we cannot is that we have let corporate greed take over our lives, and that's not fair to anybody.
I think, and just speaking on the corporate greed portion, I think just in Rhode Island, we just have a space where it has to be about more of Rhode Island as a whole. Because the few are doing well, but the whole is where the maximum is. When we say, opportunities for all Rhode Islanders, affordability for all Rhode Islanders, it's a blanket statement and it sounds good, but as you ask an average Rhode Islander how they feel, I don't really know if they feel it's affordable. Right. So getting back to what you said, just championing those changes. Right. And it's not even really like massive changes. It's just things that incrementally help us live better days.
Right now, incrementally is not going to be enough. I think we have to be bold enough to take the step and say, this is what we got to do, and do it. The Affordable Care Act was an incremental thing. Okay. And it got messed up. I'm sorry, I'm trying to not get kicked anymore.
I keep kicking you, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's not that it was bad, its intention and all of that was good, but it was meant to be a step toward more complete health care. And instead, it has itself become almost unaffordable. And now, of course, without the subsidies, it's gone.
Yes.
It has been killed. Medicare was really good when it was first put in.
Okay.
And again, the intent was to lower costs. And yet Medicare has, it's vulnerable, and it's been vulnerable to a lot of political pull and a lot of corporate greed, and the people are the ones that are suffering. That's why every time somebody says Medicare for all, I'm down, no, please, no.
So it needs to be something that's more bold.
So, okay, so Medicare could, and it could still do this if it was free, so it could lower prices because it could be the major buyer. Essentially, it could be the only buyer with lots of suppliers.
But you remove all that.
And they have then control and say, if you want to sell to us, you need to lower your prices. This is what we're going to pay. Instead, Medicare, instead of doing that, said, okay, yeah, that's a lot of work getting all those suppliers. So let's make the suppliers compete against each other so we only have one or two in each market. Now the suppliers have market power.
And they set the price.
And the prices have gone up significantly. And so even though you say, well, Medicare is paying it, no, we're all paying it. But also when you start looking at co-pays and things like that, it's priced a lot of people out of the market.
Yes.
And
medications. Even with medications, when people have to get with their medications,
because we have the pharmacy benefit managers that require a huge share of that.
The piece that comes
and so we kill out small businesses, and we the consumer. If I didn't have Medicaid, I couldn't afford this wheelchair because when I got one. Okay, so the one I got like this about 12 years ago.
Okay.
The list price on it was about $30,000. This one I got 3 years ago. The list price was $78,000.
That's a house.
You think?
It's a small house.
Actually, it's
technology
more than twice what my first house was.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so who's going to pay that kind of deductible, 20% of that? Who has that money to pay 20% of that? And without this, I don't get to go anywhere or do anything. I don't have that physical ability anymore.
And that Rhode Island Able is not going to be enough.
No.
Saving $50, $100 on $800 a month.
Yeah, right. No.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So this is why we have to really get real about and make a bold change.
Okay.
And a bold change can make difference. And I know people are afraid of bold changes, but we cannot ever go back to what we have now.
Not at this point, because if you go anything lower than what you are now, what does that look like?
Right.
So I definitely understand a bold change is upon us now. And incrementally is not the direction we need to go, because we've done that already. We've already seen how that works. So we do need to make a bold change.
Right.
If you're asking if I can champion that, I can support that. Because the incrementalness is not winning. It's not winning. It's not making Rhode Island just live a better life.
No, it's not. No.
Okay.
So and that's my questions. Do you have anything you want to add before we close this up? It is, like I say, it's disability related as far as that goes.
So CriptheVote, if you had to say from the Office of the General Treasurer, I know the questions you've asked outside of legislation, what would you say out of the programs that the General Treasurer has, what would you like to see change of those programs that we have for the Rhode Island Savers, Rhode Island Able, and the 529? Of those three programs, what would you like to see changed from the General Treasurer's office?
I don't know whether there is a change you can make from that. What we really need is for somebody to champion, okay, we got these great programs and we invest it properly, but these people don't have any chance to take advantage of it. So we need to change that.
Okay. The accessibility of taking advantage of what we've invested.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I can take a look at that.
Okay. This year is the year for the midterm elections. For Rhode Island, that means it's the year all of our state legislators and senators, the major office holders, governor, lieutenant governor, treasurer, secretary of state, and attorney general are elected as well. If we want change, we need to inform all of them that they work for us. They are our employees. We need to tell them who we are and what we need to make life fair for us. We need elected officials who will listen to us, and we need to tell them what will work and how what will work for us will benefit the state also. It's providing them with a job description. So let's make sure everyone who is running in the midterm and state elections knows something about disability, about the problems we face, about policies that need to be reinforced or changed. So in the spirit of Alice Wong, the late Alice Wong, and her associates, Greg Barrington and Andrew Pulrang, let's keep hashtag CriptheVote alive. Use that hashtag on social media to make our voices heard. This and others, are part of a CriptheVote sub-series that I'm running on this podcast for everyone who is running in Rhode Island, they're all invited to come and talk about disability issues and policies. This includes those running for election or re-election for Congress, Senate, governor, major office holders, legislature, and local races. So during the 2024 election, I had a pretty decent response to requesting participation from office holders and candidates. And I was pretty new then, so I'm hoping for the same or better now in 2026. So far, it's looking good. Now, as listeners to Nothing Without Us, you can participate in this. Let me know who you want to hear from. What do you want them to know? What questions do you want answered? And let me know if you would like to join me in that interview and information session. Nothing Without Us should be a place for many voices to be heard, and that includes yours. While I think I'm pretty in touch with disability issues, I'm sure some of you will think of things I do not. If this is to be a lively community, then you should have a seat at this table. It is through empowering ourselves that we will be able to protect our rights. So let's do it. So you can tell me in the comments who you want to hear from, what questions you want asked, or issues discussed. And if you would like to join in this interview, let's make all of our voices heard. I have begun inviting current lawmakers and known candidates. This will be nonpartisan, and I want to include questions and comments you submit, as well as some of my own. The focus of these discussions will be about disability and how laws and policies affect us. Anyone running for office will need to declare in the next few days, so getting started now is not too soon. I've also published a pledge to accessible campaigning that is posted on Patreon. Please download it and give it to every candidate you encounter. Let them know that the disability population, that's us, comprises 26% of their voters, and that they need to consider this when they're campaigning. Signing it will tell that 26% of voters that we matter. It will also indicate that they're not going to pick and choose which laws to uphold, the quality we desire in our representatives and government. The ADA is 36 years old this summer, so that's an important federal civil rights law, and we want to make sure that, candidates understand that it's time to pay attention to it. Thank you for listening to this conversation with Micholas Credle, Republican candidate for general treasurer. I'm Annette, and this has been CriptheVote, a sub-series of Nothing Without Us. Please subscribe to this podcast. Even free subscriptions will give you access to all the regular and important episodes, including the entire CriptheVote subseries. Share this podcast and make comments. I read them all. While basic subscriptions are free, there are benefits to paid memberships, including early access to some postings, special postings only available to paid members, and a monthly live episode to those on the activist tier. My goal is to make this a lively community where voices will be heard. Now, the second live episode has been posted. Sarah Everhart-Skeels joined me for a discussion of developing the agenda for change. What do we need to see? Our third episode will be on July 2nd, and like the first two, will be free to all subscribers, even free subscribers. After that, access will be available to those on the activist tier and to people who purchase a ticket. But check out these live episodes for free. Just free subscribe if you haven't already. Please send some questions. We will be happy to address them. Ask us anything about disability, about people with disabilities as leaders of change, or what the agenda for change should be. So we're always happy to hear from you, and we will answer your questions directly online. We're going to purchase your membership to have a higher tier. You can purchase them on an annual basis now rather than just on a monthly basis, and you can gift a membership to someone else. So tell your friends they can find this podcast at patreon.com/nothingwithoutus, on YouTube and Spotify. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. So until the next Nothing Without Us, I'm Annette.